All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Here today to discuss about WWE WrestleMania 38 Night 1. And damn, was this a good show or what? Let me know, guys, how I sound in the chat. I just recently today went ahead. My birthday was yesterday, so my old man got me a microphone a podcast microphone, and just wondering how I sound on the audio here. I see that there's a lot of comments made in the chat, which I'll go over in just a second, just to interact with you guys. Yeah, I was really shocked by this show, man. I could not believe this show actually entertained me. It entertained me. I actually found some enjoyment out of this. This was very, very impressive by WWE. This was a plus without a doubt. I was impressed with what they did here tonight. Don't get me wrong. Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair was the biggest waste of everybody's time. The biggest thing you could possibly ask for in a match or in a show. I think this should have been removed from the card completely. I'll tell you what, folks. Could you imagine if this would have been the main event of WrestleMania? This match closing out the show. I mean, 57-year-old Stone Cold Steve Austin. Oh, hell yeah. Did a better match with Kevin Owens than Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey did at WrestleMania 38. That is a sad statement. How a 57-year-old man, Stone Cold Steve Austin, can put on a better match than Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair. Beyond me, man. Way over my head to figure that one out. These two women had no interest whatsoever putting on a good show. And I just cannot believe what they did here. Real shit fest by those two women. We'll go over everything, the results, my ratings on each of the matches. I'll also go ahead and give you, go ahead and read off your comments in the chat as well and respond to them. There's quite a few of them. Before I go into the card, I'll kind of catch up with everything because it seems like Black Hats, Daniel, and Matt 87 Eagle had a lot to say in the comment or in the chat. So I'll go ahead and read them off right now. And on top of that, we'll go over the entire match card for night one, and I'll give you guys the ratings, and we'll close out the show. If you guys want to leave any more comments before I finish this, you're more than welcome to do so, and I'll go ahead and read them off to you guys, respond to them. But anyway, let me go ahead and cover and catch up to some of the comments that were made. Daniel, man, you are on a roll tonight. Constantly commenting here left and right in the chat, even before I came on the air. Daniel says, I'm here early and I was happy after seeing Cody's return. Yes, I am extremely ecstatic that they kept the same entrance, did not change a thing about him. They did everything correct with him, just the way they should. Daniel also mentions that some of the matches I didn't care for, but Bianca and Becky and Cody versus Seth Rollins was good. My thoughts were mixed for Logan and Miz versus the Mysterios. I actually, to be quite frank with you, Daniel, I thought that match was pretty good. I thought the build towards it was meaningless. I mean, I didn't particularly care for it, but as wrestling goes, it was actually a good match. I didn't mind it one single bit. Black Hats states that Stone Cold is fighting tonight. My God. Black Hats goes on to say this WrestleMania has got so much better than last year's. This was night one. Let's take it easy. We still got a whole nother night to deal with, and hopefully they close out night two with the same way they closed out night one. because I'll be quite frank with you. Last year's WrestleMania, outside of Roman, Bryan Danielson, and Edge, WrestleMania 37 Night 2 was actually pretty crappy. And I know that I applaud it when I first watched it, but I went back and watched it, and I have to say I was wrong. That Night 2 sucked from last year. Night 1 was way better. The only thing that was meaningful was the World Championship match with Edge, Bryan Danielson, and Roman Reigns. Daniel goes on to say, without a doubt, Black Hats. Daniel also says some matches were actually good for once, like Seth versus Cody Rhodes. Yes, sir. Absolutely agree. Daniel also states, all right, I'm excited to see what he thinks about Night 1. Some matches were good. Well, actually, Daniel, I've already stated that, but I know you were just talking to Matt 87 Eagle. Matt 87 Eagle says that his thoughts were outside of Charlotte versus Ronda Rousey. He actually was surprised. He said, excited my expectations. I guess he was really impressed with the whole rest of the show besides Ronda and Charlotte, which is obvious. Daniel goes ahead and says Cody versus Seth was fantastic. Best match of the night. Absolutely, man. That was the best match of the night. That was a WrestleMania match worth everybody's time. Matt 87 Eagle says Night 1 was really good and says without question. And Daniel, for once, something good came out of WWE, like Cody Rhodes' return. Ha, ha, ha. Yeah, I have to agree. Finally, something good came out of this shit. Matt 87 Eagle says, I'm glad Cody was able to keep his Kingdom entrance music. Yep, if they got rid of that, it would have ruined his entire return. I wouldn't have made a lot of sense. Everybody's gotten used to this theme song. There's no reason to change it if he has ownership of it. Daniel goes on to say, let's hope they let him do what he wants for his creative stuff. I didn't expect KO fighting Austin at the end. Just to answer your one statement there, Daniel, about Cody, I don't think Cody's going to have any creative control. I think he's going to have a little bit more. Vince will be a little bit more lenient towards him, giving him kind of like the Edge treatment, or like Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar type of treatment. But he's not going to have full reign on who he gets to work with, I don't think. But I think Vince McMahon's going to let him be him. Because what he probably saw from Cody leaving WWE, going out on his own and seeing what he did, probably impressed Vince McMahon very much. And the moment he had the chance to get him back, his attitude was, I'm going to let this guy just do his thing and let him do what he's got to do, which is a very smart move by Vince McMahon himself. But at the end of the day, guys, Vince McMahon's got to find him the proper opponents to go up against. Cody versus Seth Rollins, definitely a good choice for his first match. Now we got to figure out where he's going to work at this point. Like who's he going to get to work with that will blend well with his type of wrestling style. I think a guy like Finn Balor and him would work out great. The only problem is I don't think that them being two faces would really work out that well. Seth Rollins, in my personal opinion, is more of a heel than a face. He's kind of an in-betweener right now, but I personally feel he leans more towards a heel than a face. Also, Daniel states that some matches were okay, I didn't care for. My least favorite match is Ronda versus Charlotte. Daniel, I think everybody feels the same way. I don't think anyone felt that this match between Charlotte and Ronda was actually any good. Wow, this microphone picks up everything. I'm hearing my old man in the background freaking clearing his throat while my door's closed. That's pretty nuts. Shit. But Yeah, Daniel, everybody can agree with you on that one. I don't think anyone liked the Ronda versus Charlotte Flair match at all. Black Hat states that Cody deserves it. I agree. AEW fans are mad right now. Personally, Black Hats, I am an AEW fan. I'm not mad at it. I'm kind of mad that he went to WWE because I feel like WWE would mistreat him and treat him like a joke. But after tonight and what they did with him, he felt like the same Cody Rhodes we've been used to since he left WWE. So I'm personally kind of over being mad with the whole situation. As long as they continue to do what they're doing, don't change anything about him. Let him be him. If they do that, I'm totally cool with it. So, yeah, I really think that what they've done with him tonight, gain some kind of trust that I have, had for WWE back. Uh, they've gained some of my trust back. And I'm happy to say that at least. I've been a fan of WWE since I was a kid. I've never hated WWE. I just hated the creative direction they've gone. You guys all know I wear a Cowboys baseball cap all the time, and I'm a Cowboys fan through and through. But do you guys think for a second I like Jerry Jones and his ideas of how to put a team together for the football team? No. I don't like Jerry Jones at all, just like I don't like Vince McMahon. But I've never stopped liking WWE. It's just how much more can I bear to continue to watch to the point where it gets nauseating and to the point where I don't want to watch it anymore. I was on the verge after tonight really not watching anything WWE related ever again. And they saved their asses after this show. It's like as if they know that people are wanting to go away, and yet then it's like that good old Godfather type terminology. Once I think I'm out, and then they bring me back in. It's that kind of mentality, you know? But it's very odd. Like, I don't understand why they do that. And not to mention the weird part of it all is that WWE is providing us horrible builds to these pay-per-views, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they decide, oh, well, we gave them a shitty build. Let's give them a great show on this one pay-per-view event. Please save us from the terrible builds then. Try doing this. Just have the fucking pay-per-views and get rid of your weekly televised shows. They suck anyway. They're the same repetitive shit. Just book the matches for the pay-per-views once a month and have your, live shows and leave us alone with your weekly trash. It sucks. You do good with pay-per-views, great. Do the pay-per-views and fuck the damn live shows. Or the weekly shows. Keep the live shows for people that can watch the shit and can stand sitting through it on a week-to-week basis that'll go there and watch it. Leave us alone, you know? I mean, these weekly shows are shit. They're not worth anybody's time to watch. So what the fuck do we care? I don't know, man. It's just weird. Anyway, continue on what Black Hat said. Because they lost their leader. I don't think Cody Rhodes is really the leader anymore of AEW. I think he was, a good performer. He helped out with getting AEW off the ground. I will admit that. But at the end of the day, it wasn't his money that helped AEW get where they are. It's Tony Khan's money. So, I mean, I'm not trying to kiss Tony Khan's ass or anything. I almost said Cody Khan. What the fuck? But yeah, Tony Khan, I mean, I'm not trying to kiss his ass or anything, but at the end of the day, we have to be real with ourselves. We know that he is the guy who actually, invested in this company and get it off the ground. So that's who we need to give the credit to. I mean, credit goes to everybody else. I mean, Kenny Omega, Cody, and the Young Bucks did their part in helping AEW get even better. And with the signings of all these other guys that weren't utilized correctly by WWE, it's gotten even better. It's It's been able to give us the idea of Ring of Honor being just as good as AEW with the amount of talent that they have. They could put it on Ring of Honor. So, I mean, at the end of the day, us as wrestling fans are benefiting from this. So I'm not going to complain. I just wish that WWE would give us week-to-week builds that are worth something. I mean, these builds are just terrible. Even that Charlotte Flair Ronda Rousey promo video was terrible. I hated that one. That was the weakest one of them all. Anyway, let's go on. Dan says, I understand, but I almost cried in happiness to see Cody in WWE for the first time in 6 years. I didn't really cry or anything. I was excited he was there. I think that would have been a blown opportunity if they wouldn't have went with Cody. If they would have went with Shane McMahon, I would have been like, what the fuck were they thinking? Seriously. Undertaker was another thing. I was thinking about something. If you actually heard his Hall of Fame speech, he closed out with a never say never comment at the end of his speech. So it's kind of like, wait a second, maybe we're getting the Undertaker versus Seth Rollins, which, by the way, was a match that's never been booked before. So it could have been good, possibly. But I'm going to say no to that idea because Undertaker's wrestled for a very long time and he needs to stay retired. Black Hats. He went ahead and he says, once night 2 is over, I can finally retire from watching wrestling. I don't know about that, man. I mean, WWE seems to be booking. They booked a really good show for night 1. But hey, if you want to retire from watching wrestling, by all means, go ahead, man. I'll miss you. It was nice talking to you and everything else. By the way, Black Hats, I'm going to go ahead and do that ECW thing that you were talking about for September 7th of 2020. I'll give you a short review since you're going to be retiring from the channel after night 2. So I'd rather go ahead and get that uploaded so you can see it before you hang it up here at YouTube. Yeah, it was a pleasure having you here on the channel. And if you ever want to come back, I'd love to have you. But if not, it was nice dealing with you and talking to you on a regular basis off of these videos and stuff. Daniel also went ahead and said I was mixed on Logan Paul, even though he did well for his first match. Daniel, I actually will debate that with you. I think Bad Bunny from last year did better than Logan Paul. But Logan Paul, yeah, in his own defense, he actually did decent. He wasn't terrible in his match. He, looked like he practiced. He looked like he was training for this event. He just didn't go in there and just do whatever. It seemed like he cared about what he was doing. And I'll tell you what, he actually, if he wanted to be a full-time wrestler and really get involved in this business, I think people would appreciate him as a heel because people love to boo this guy. So, I mean, Logan Paul might get over as a professional wrestler instead of being some stupid boxer. Who the fuck knows? But anyway, Rachel Buck, she goes on to say that Cody Rhodes should beat Roman Reigns for the championship. Holy shit. Rachel Buck, I love you, girl, but man, that happens, I'll kiss your ass. Seriously. I don't think that's ever going to happen. I don't think Cody has ever beaten Roman Reigns for that belt. If there's a secondary world championship, fine, I could debate that with you. If they want to have Cody beat Roman for the WWE Championship to bring back over to Raw so that Raw has their own individual title to compete over, I would agree with you on that. But I'm going to say no to that idea. I don't think that's ever going to happen. Matt87 Eagle said Miz. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about there, Matt. Black Hats, I was disappointed with Charlotte retained the title. Of course she was. Well, I thought Ronda Rousey was going to win that match, but they made Ronda Rousey look like a fucking retard in that match. Straight up, man. Honestly, I really would like to know who the hell booked this freaking match. Well, not booked, but produced this match making it the way it was, because I'll be honest, they made Ronda Rousey look like a fucking idiot. Big time. Daniel says Ronda should have won. I'm sick of Charlotte hogging up the title. I don't really care. I don't know why you guys are making a big thing out of the SmackDown Women's Championship. There's really nothing very interesting about Charlotte Flair or Ronda Rousey. Their build was terrible, and so was the match. So, I mean, quite frankly, who gives a shit who would have won the belt? It really doesn't matter. Black Cat says that WWE should have given Ronda a chance to win. They made her look like a dope, Black Cats. Seriously, they did not do right by her in this by any means. There were certain aspects of this match that she just looked absolutely terrible. She looked like looked like a moron in certain situations with the referee. Constantly distracted by the referee's decision making, what he was doing, things of that sort. I mean, it was absolutely ridiculous. SME Wrestling. Wrestlemania was all right, in my opinion. I was really excited when Cody showed up. Yep, I'd have to agree with you, SME Wrestling. I think the event was really good. I think that Ronda Rousey Charlotte Flair once again was the worst match of them all and gave on the worst performance of them all. I really think that I even said this to Matt 87 Eagle. I said that Drew McIntyre and Happy Corbin was a better match than fucking Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair. That is a very sad statement, man. That match was supposed to be booked as a high caliber main event match, and yet it was booked terribly. Should have been in the mid card. Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair belonged in their spot, not Charlotte and Ronda. I sincerely mean that from the bottom of my heart. I mean, really, that's shit. Daniel says, I fear they might make a rematch of this. No surprise there. I have to agree, Daniel. I think they probably will. There was distractions taking place. The referee was knocked out and so forth. So I don't really care. I don't really care about Charlotte or Ronda at this point. They're terrible. Black Hat says, but now she's leaving the company. I'm sick and tired of WWE not pushing the stars right. Well, that's probably why you're retiring from watching wrestling, Black Hats. I wouldn't disagree with you on that. If you're that fed up of wrestling, I totally agree. Get the hell out of watching it. It's not worth your time if you're not completely happy with it. I mean, I'm not completely happy with wrestling, but I love wrestling, and I'm never going to stop watching it. There's just certain promotions I may not watch anymore because I'm just really tired of it, especially WWE most of all. Daniel says, in my opinion, Cody and Seth was the best match while Ronda and Charlotte was the worst. Yep, we've already discussed that. Black Hat says, I got a bad feeling about budget cuts. Who do you think one of them are going to release? Well, Butch is one of them. I think Butch, Pete Dunne will be released. There's been reports that he is enjoying the name change. He thinks it's exciting and different for him and so forth. He's just being a company man, a yes man, just giving, the audience or WWE what they want to hear. And that's about it. Black Hats goes on to say, I got a bad feeling about, oh yeah, I'm sorry, I already read that. SME Wrestling states that Ronda Rousey had a crap finish. Yep, I've already stated that. I said that they made her look like a fucking idiot in certain situations during this match, and I really like to know who the hell produced this match to make her look that dumb, because she looked terrible. Never seen her this bad before in my life. Her 2018 run was really good. This, I don't know what the hell this is. This ain't the same Ronda Rousey we're used to. If you go back 4 years ago and watch what she did, leading into 2019, she did far better work than this. This is trash what they're doing with her. Black Hat says after WrestleMania. Okay, yeah, that was just a continuation of his last comment. Sorry. Daniel says, my GM 2K22 was better than WWE's booking logic in modern times. I'm kind of struggling with it, actually. I don't really particularly like it. I've been getting into universe mode as usual, and I've been going ahead and playing the showcase with Rey Mysterio, and I've been doing a little bit dabbling into my faction mode, which is kind of fun. Same thing I've been doing with NBA 2K21 and 2K22 with the My Team mode. It's a lot of fun to actually do those and have your own fantasy groupings of players or wrestlers, whichever way you want to call it. And I actually been getting addicted to that for the last couple of days. I don't normally play that kind of stuff, but I've been getting into it and having fun with it. Matt 87 Eagle says Charlotte was going to win, but the match had no business being so far down the WrestleMania card. I really don't think this match should even existed. I think Ronda Rousey versus Becky Lynch should have taken place, personally. Black Cat says, I almost cried in the end of night one. Yeah, I gotta agree. I think Steve Austin and what he did was absolutely amazing. Matt 87 Eagle says it was pre-show spot at best. Oh, for Ronda Rousey and Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair. Yeah, I guess you could say that. It was a pretty shitty match. Daniel states that Stone Cold versus KO was a shocker, yet not bad. I was actually shocked this turned into a legit match. And not to mention, it was far better than Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair. SME Wrestling states that The Undertaker is in the Hall of Fame, has a special place in my heart because he is my favorite wrestler of all time, and he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Absolutely 100% agree with you. I think Undertaker has done a lot for this business. He has shown people how to evolve and grow with their character. There's a lot of people that have learned from The Undertaker and what he has done as The Undertaker in his career to be able to continue to stay relevant. And that is what The Undertaker has done for a lot of people that want to remain relevant in professional wrestling today. SME says, thank you, Taker. And Daniel says, Undertaker is the GOAT. Yep, I have to agree. The only other person that you could really say is slightly better than The Undertaker, and this is by a small margin, so anyone wants to freak on me, I apologize, but I will say Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. He played a great, amazing face, and he also played a great heel. He has done both ends and did them extremely well. So I give all credit to Hulk Hogan and what he did in the pro wrestling business as a business logical booking personal end of things. I think Hulk Hogan is the absolute worst. I would never have Hogan book my shows because his idea is living in the past, and that's what he did with WCW, and it fucked them up for a very long time. That's where Hogan fucked up with his whole entire career. His booking end of things was illogical, and it didn't help out any businesses. Look at TNA. 2009, TNA was at the top of their game, doing all kinds of stuff. People were interested in that. I was one of those people. And then TNA turned out like shit in 2010 and went straight down in the toilet by 2014. So go figure that one out, folks. I think Hogan and Eric Bischoff are... Eric Bischoff has his moments of creativity and intelligence, but in other aspects, Eric Bischoff is a little kind of off the page with his own booking style as well. Black Cat states, also the fans are stacked to 77,899. Yeah, that is pretty terrible, knowing that the fucking arena, the stadium, has got 100,000 capacity. of people you could fit in seats. That's pretty shitty. Black Hat says that's not as big as WrestleMania 32. Black Hats, I do apologize to mention, yeah, they had a larger attendance, but they didn't really reach 100,000 people. They didn't. They're actually, I believe the correct amount was like 88,000 people, maybe 89,000, or maybe a little less than 88,000. But yeah, it was still more than 77,000. I'm pretty certain that number is inflated anyway to make themselves sound good in all retrospect of things. But yeah, I don't think it was literally 77,899 people, to be exact. Daniel says, hashtag welcome back, American Nightmare. Black Hat states that with 101,000 attendance, nope. Like I said before, it was a little less than that. And Daniel says, I think Mania 38 Night 1 did better than WrestleMania 34. Ugh. I don't know about that. I would say they did better than 32. I will agree with you on that. But 34? I don't know. I mean, you did have a great debut of Ronda Rousey with Kurt Angle against Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. That was a good match. Not to mention there were some other things that took place on that show that was pretty good. Black Hat says that Boogs got his knee ACL snap and is injured. Holy shit. So he legitimately got an injury. That's funny. He was acting as if he was injured and he really wasn't. Now he officially is. That's pretty crazy. SME Wrestling. Most of the matches shouldn't have been on WrestleMania. Well, I guess that's because WWE doesn't know how to book their shows, but at least they gave us some good matches, even though those matches shouldn't have been booked. Black Hat states to Daniel, true. Just commenting on each other. All right, and Daniel says they did pretty well tonight, in my opinion. Haven't said anything good about WWE in a long time until now. Yeah, I would have to agree. I don't think any of us have said anything good about this company. Wow, you guys are really commenting like crazy, more than I've ever had before. I may have to kind of lay off on some of the comments being made here because I can't keep up with all this shit and actually do a review. We're 30 minutes in and I still haven't even covered any of the matches yet. Damn, we're gonna be here for a while, guys. So hold up, man. Let me see where I left off. Okay. So Daniel also states that I'm surprised by Logan Paul's match. Honestly, yeah, I got to agree on that. SME Wrestling said me too. SME Wrestling is also saying it's a shame he didn't bring some Prime with him. Okay. Daniel says, I guess the training did pay off when Logan was training. Black Hat says my next Hall of Fame of 2023 prediction is John Cena, Batista, Victoria, and Greg the Hammer Valentine. I don't know. Nor do I really care. I mean, like, the Hall of Fame doesn't really mean much anymore. They don't even have a place to put someone like Scott Steiner said. But it's funny. He was inducted in the Hall of Fame with his brother. That's fucking hilarious. Daniel says, reminded me of Bad Bunny's match, and he did good. Yeah, I have to agree with you, Daniel, on that one. Like I said, they had similar styles. They did as best as they could, but I think Bad Bunny did better than Logan Paul. Daniel apparently was mentioning Black Hats in his comment, and he says that Black Hats, I could see it happening. And he said back to Daniel, hopefully. Daniel says, I'd rather see Logan Paul show up in WWE more than part-timers. Wow, that's pretty fucked up. But yeah, I already mentioned that he could be a heel in WWE if he wanted to be a full-time worker there. Black Cat says, oh, and Rey Mysterio in the Hall of Fame too. Okay. I guess that would be fine. I wouldn't have an issue with that, but you need us to retire soon. I mean, Jesus Christ, he's been wrestling for a long time. Same for the Undertaker, so guess I ain't got room to talk. Daniel says, I think Mania Night 1 was miles better than Crown Jewel of 2018. Dude, Daniel, Crown Jewel was, I think every single show of Crown Jewel was terrible, except for 2021 Crown Jewel. That was about the only decent show that was good. I mean, the only show that was actually good for Crown Jewel series that they've had going to Saudi Arabia. So that's all I have to say on that. Elimination Chamber, give me a fucking break. Elimination Chamber was a complete joke. There was no build to WrestleMania with that damn pay-per-view match or pay-per-view itself. That was shit. SME Wrestling says Stone Cold versus KO was a no-holds-barred match, but there was barely any weapons. But still pretty good. The reason why is because Stone Cold is an older dude. They didn't want to take any chances of him taking some severe bumps with a chair shot like they were going to try to do. They were teasing that in the match near the end, and Steve Austin countered it with a Stone Cold Stunner. So there you go. Daniel says it was a decent match. Yep, I have to agree. It was a decent match. I will give you guys a rating on that in just a moment. Daniel also states that last time WWE did so good on a pay-per-view was back in Crown Jewel last year. Matt 87 Eagle says reported that Rick Boogs is out on injury. Okay. And Daniel, the only thing I'm hoping for tomorrow is Roman winning to unify the titles. Daniel, if they don't do that and they give it to Brock Lesnar, which there's a sort of rumor going around that he's going to get screwed by Jey Uso, I will discontinue with this shit with WWE because I can't put up with this. I would hate to see Brock Lesnar win a fucking belt over a screw job finish by Jey Uso. That would be shit. Anyway, Daniel says all I'm hoping for on night 2. Okay, sounds good, man. You guys hearing me all right? Is the sound quality good and whatnot? Just let me know in the chat real quick. All right, cool. Thank you, SME Wrestling. Appreciate that. I'm not sure. Okay, thank you, Black Hats. I appreciate that. Perfect sound. All right, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad I'm coming in very well for you guys. Usually these streams come in kind of shitty. Like I said, I got a podcast microphone for the channel today, so I wanted to see if this is working out well, and it is. So very thankful of that, and I appreciate you guys letting me know how I sound. And I'm thankful that everything's coming out okay so far. Let me just pull this up on my phone, the actual match card itself, so we can go over this night 1 event. Because, shit, we've been going about 40 minutes, and all I've done is read your comments. Usually I don't get these many comments on Random Wrestling Talk. If you don't believe me, ask Black Cats, Daniels, and Matt 87 Eagle. They would know. They're here on a regular basis. So you were a little disappointed by Psycho Sid not getting inducted in the Hall of Fame this year? Wow, that's weird. Yeah, let's go over this entire event. The very first match that kickstarted the show is the Usos defending the Smackdown Tag Team titles against Rick Boogs and Shinsuke Nakamura. My thoughts on this match is it was a decent little match for what it was. The action was fast-paced. It was very enjoyable, and if it wasn't for the situation that happened to Rick Boogs, I think the match would have turned out to be even better than what it was to begin with. Unfortunately, like you guys have been noticing on the news feeds, that he is officially injured, so he's going to be out for a while, an ACL tear. I think he's going to be out for almost a year. Usually ACL tears keep most athletes out for most of their season when they're performing, so I'm not sure. My rating on this match, I would say, is a 3 out of 5 stars. Pretty average, okay match. So I mean, it wasn't nothing special, but it was okay. It wasn't nothing to get crazy over, or get upset over. It was right in the middle. But yeah, Usos retained their tag team titles for SmackDown. Drew McIntyre versus Happy Corbin. Drew McIntyre, of course, won this match. Yeah, Black Hat, you're absolutely correct. ACL tears usually take 8 to 12 months for them to heal. So I'd have to agree with you on that. In SME wrestling, yeah, we share the same sentiment about the very first match, 3 out of 5 stars. But yeah, Drew McIntyre and Happy Corbin, I gotta say, yeah, the match may not have been, there've been no point to the match. I have to agree with you, SME wrestling, because storyline was bland as shit. But the match, I actually found it more entertaining than fucking Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey. I mean, I can't believe that's coming out of my mouth. It is really crazy that I could say that. I can't believe I'm saying this in front of you guys and be openly honest about it like this. But I can't lie. This match wasn't that bad. It was okay for what it was. Did it belong on WrestleMania? No. Did it deserve a fucking promo package? No. It was, it was what it was. It surprised me that the quality of this match was actually good. So, the match, I'm going to give it a 2.5 out of 5 stars. Simply because of the build. The build was kind of really ridiculous. Lazy. It just lacks substance and gained people's interest. There was nothing there. Happy Corbin's a dead gimmick. I don't even like it. Didn't like it from the get-go. I'm talking about a dead gimmick. It was dead from the jump street. We then had The Miz and Logan Paul defeating Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio. This actually surprised me. I didn't think that The Miz and Logan Paul was going to win this match. You guys may ask me why. Actually, did I say The Miz and Logan Paul was going to win this match? Or I forgot who I predicted was going to win this match. It don't fucking matter. I actually thought that going into this, I thought Miz and Logan Paul were going to lose and Miz was going to take the pinfall. And that was going to be that. And then that would have been the end of the story. But it was actually complete opposite. Miz and Logan Paul won the match. And the Miz then turned on Logan Paul at the end. And the fans erupted and went crazy and thought this was awesome. Oh my God. I couldn't believe this. But yeah, this was a really good match. I mean, for what it was. And I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. So SME Wrestling, you give it a 4 out of 5 with the Logan Paul match. All right. I mean, I'm not going to give it a 4 out of 5 stars because there was a lot of other matches on this card that really blew this match away that deserves to be a 4 out of 5 stars. But if you want to say 4 out of 5, all right, I'll say that, I guess. All right. The next match, this was actually a WrestleMania match type quality, which is the same match we should have gotten at SummerSlam instead of a 26-second fiasco, okay? Bianca Belair defeated Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's Championship. Now, a lot of people would say, and even myself said it, that Becky Lynch should retain the title. Reason being is there was talks that Ronda Rousey will more than likely be facing Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's Championship next year at WrestleMania 39. Now, Becky Lynch winning the championship doesn't really benefit Bianca Belair in any capacity. Who's she got to wrestle? The only person she really has to wrestle at this point would be fucking Becky Lynch. That's it. There's no other women on here. I mean, we could see a Rhea Ripley heel turn, but where's the momentum being built up for her? Where's she getting any kind of like push that's going to get her to, be qualified for a Raw Women's Championship opportunity? Black Hats, I'll speak to you later, man. If you want to leave a comment down below after the video and you get to see it, I'll definitely comment right back to you. You always know I'm here for you, man. Appreciate the support, and hope to hear back from you soon. Anyway, where was I? Oh, yeah. So, Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair, yeah, I don't know who she's going to be able to wrestle besides Rhea Ripley. And Rhea Ripley, there's nothing that she's got going for her right now. Now, this loss that she's going to, suffer tomorrow night in the Fatal 4-Way Women's Tag Team Championship match, I mean, let's be honest. That match is going to be shit anyway. They might as well have Rhea Ripley lose, take the L, turn on Liv Morgan, become a heel, have a short-term rivalry with Liv Morgan to help build her up, and then have Rhea Ripley go ahead and then eventually by, I'd say, Money in the Bank or so, challenge for the Raw Women's Championship as a heel. Winning the title, I don't know if that's a good idea or not. One way or another. But this is going to be very tricky for WWE to sort out and, figure out what they're going to do. But honestly, there was nothing to this, there's nothing going on for, Becky or Bianca Belair as champion. Becky Lynch at least already has the full credibility as, a women's champion. She needs a lot of work with this heel run she's doing and so forth. So I'm not quite sure. I really think that this whole idea was a bad idea. I think the Becky Lynch championship reign should have continued, but unfortunately that was not the case. Not shitting on the match or anything. I just think the choice of the winner was a bad idea. So that's just my thoughts. Leaving it at that. The match, I will give it a 4 out of 5 stars. It was a good match. Very entertaining and well worth being in the spot of Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey's match. Most definitely. The next match after that was Seth Rollins facing Cody Rhodes in the best match of them all, night one. Bottom line. No doubt about it. Hands down the best. This match, I'm giving it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. This was outstanding and fun as shit to watch. The entrance that Cody got was excellent. The crowd reaction was fantastic. Better than anyone. SME Wrestling, you want to give it a 5 out of 5? That's fine, dude. If you feel that was 5 out of 5, by all means, man. I would even lean towards that, possibly. But I never say 5 out of 5 because no match is perfect. There's no way you can say there's any perfect match. The only match I'll ever say was perfect was Shawn Michaels' Undertaker WrestleMania 25. That was the perfect match I have ever seen in my life, and no one, and I mean no one, has ever topped it. Not once. So don't add at me, SME Wrestling. But bro, I appreciate the commentary and I appreciate your opinions. It's well appreciated, and you have every right to feel that it was a 5 out of 5. I just don't feel like any match deserves that 5 out of 5 unless it was absolutely fucking perfect. This was near to perfect. There were some things in this match that Cody kind of slipped up on. There was that one move he did off the top rope. It looked a little botched. It looked like he was doing a lion salt, a lion salt, and he kind of twisted and turned it into a crossbody type of situation. It looked pretty cool, but it wasn't really intended to be that way. So I'm not quite sure on that one, but there was some kind of mishaps. But the match quality itself was great. I will give you that, SME Wrestling. Great stuff. And Cody Rhodes, of course, won the match. The crowd reaction was great. The fans were anticipating this 100%, continuously chanting Cody, Cody, nonstop. The lights went out. I was thinking, oh shit, Undertaker may actually show up for this match. And then all of a sudden, the fucking pyro went off in the ring. And then the pyro went all the way up on the ramp. And then we had the Cody's entrance music from AEW come on, the Titantron. And I'm like, holy shit. And that was fucking cool as shit. To hear an AEW music coming on in a WWE stadium. That was fucking great. Very awesome. Then we had, holy fucking shit. Then we had Charlotte Flair, Ronda Rousey for the Smackdown Women's Championship, which, folks, as you guys already know, it was bloody fucking awful. It was terrible. They're even lucky I'm giving it a star, but it's 1 out of 5 stars. That was shit. 100%. I couldn't stand the fucking match. It was slow, dull, and very, very boring. So yeah, that is a 1 out of 5 stars. And then the main event was a talk show turned into a wrestling match. Stone Cold Steve Austin, Kevin Owens sat down for about 10 minutes or so. And I just was like going ahead, and I'm like, Kevin Owens going, well, I just wanted to sit here and talk. And Austin's looking at him like, you serious about this right now? You dragged my ass out here to have a talk with me when I came out here to whip your ass. What the fuck is this? That's the kind of look he had on his face. Man, I don't know, man. It was weird. But then Kevin Owens said, well, just to be quite frank with you, I kind of lied, which I don't normally do, but I've actually came out here to ask if you would like to do a match with me so I can kick your ass all over Dallas, Texas. So, Austin obliged, of course. He wasn't going to back down from a match. What the hell would he do that for? That wouldn't sound like Steve Austin at all. So he went ahead and he accepted. It was a no-holds-barred match, which Kevin Owens later announced and said, well, this is going to be a no-holds-barred match, not some regular ordinary match. So he accepted anyway. And they looked like they were dressed for a street fight anyhow, so it all worked out for the best anyway. So the match starts. Match is good. I mean, it's not, one of those Steve Austin Attitude Era type of matches that we used to get back in the day. But it was a good match for what it was. I mean, we got to put in account, Steve Austin's 57 right now. He's out of shape. You could clearly see that even with a shirt covering his body. He didn't look like he was in the best of shape. He had some man boobs going on there. He looked like he kind of hasn't been working out all that much. I mean, he does have some muscles on his biceps and whatnot, but he wouldn't have been wearing a shirt if there was nothing wrong underneath. I mean, he would have taken the shirt off during the match. But clearly there's something going on. He's not in the best of shape. He's probably normal, average looking. He doesn't have to be a blown, fat, drunk type of look to still wear a shirt over his body, his middle portion of his body. But he had to wear it for some reason, and I have a good reason to know what it is. It was because he isn't in the best of shape like he used to be that people remember him by. So he probably felt, and Vince felt it was probably a good idea for him to keep the shirt on throughout the entire match. But match was good for what it was. I mean, we got to see them wrestle in the crowd. Austin took a few decent bumps here and there. He took a shot off the ring post with the little fucking the little Movie-tron on the ring post. He took a shot there and he went face first into it, actually. The other thing that he did that was good, he took a suplex outside by where the crowd was and landed on a hard piece of floor, no padding, no nothing. Managed to continue to wrestle. He was not out of breath. He was in really good shape cardio-wise. Cardio-wise, he did good. I mean, he did far more than what Goldberg can provide us in a match. Shit. He's a fucking joke when it comes to matches, man. He's like a guy that can't hold his load. He comes prematurely. But this match was good for what it was, I'm gonna say this match was actually a 3.5 stars out of 5. The match was kind of slow. A lot of it wasn't back and forth. It was mostly Austin beating the shit out of Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens didn't really benefit a whole lot out of this match. Doing this, it was just a nice little rub for him to be able to work with Steve Austin, which was great for him. But he didn't get the right kind of treatment for this match. Personally, if I was Kevin Owens, I wouldn't have wanted to do this personally, because I wouldn't have seen any point of him and I doing this. I wouldn't have benefited. He's already had his legacy told. I mean, he's already set his legacy in motion. He's going to be remembered forever. Thankfully, this match didn't tarnish his legacy in any way. But I personally, I just don't want to see Austin wrestle anymore. I don't think he needs to. He has nothing to prove to us. He has nothing to prove to himself anymore. And he's burnt out, man. He's hurt. He deserves to, enjoy retirement. You want to have him part as creative? By all means, let him go, man. Let him do some creative stuff in your company. I mean, I think it would benefit them a lot if they had a creative mind like Steve Austin. He's come up with some really smart things. If you don't believe me, listen to some of his podcasts. He's talked about Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt, when he was wrestling for the company, he thought the guy was an amazing talent. But all they ever had him do was smile, laugh at everything, and sound like a dumbass. There was nothing about him that was intimidating, is what Steve Austin said. So what was the point? Get rid of the laughing. He would probably say, get rid of the stupid smiling all the time. Why do the wrestlers need to smile all the time? What are they smiling about? Somebody gets their ass kicked. What's the point of them smiling to begin with? Bianca Belair is a prime example of that recently. She gets attacked from behind by Becky Lynch. She puts a chair around her neck, smashes her into a fucking a ring post, and she's knocked out, and she hurts her throat. I think it's her larynx, or whatever way you pronounce it. But I mean, let's be honest. And then she comes in 2 weeks later and she's showing up spinning her fucking hair around and smiling to the crowd. Why? What is she smiling for? Why is she spinning her hair around like everything's hunky-dory? I really don't get this. It makes no sense to me. That's the problem with WWE. There's no attitude. There's no aggression. If you really think about it, attitude and the aggression era, the ruthless aggression era, were the best eras in WWE. Why? Not because of the fucking names. It's because of the fact of the effort, the energy, and the want and will to be the absolute best at your craft. Vince gave these people the ability to have some creative freedom to do what they need to do to get themselves over in the ring. He also made it feel like a legit sport in certain aspects. Other things like backstage gimmicks and stuff like that, and the things they did backstage were mostly just entertainment for us to laugh at. But they were actually humorous at times. Today's wrestling, they're trying to do nonstop comedy acts with very poor comedic, material. And in certain aspects, they're literally laughing at their own customers, and their customers are catching on to it. Some of the customers are not caring. They're accepting it for what it is, not giving a shit, going, oh, wow, this is amazing stuff. I'll take it for what it is. Thank you very much. Can I have some more? That's what they're doing. That's why they have so many fucking fans still. And what I mean by fans, they have like 1.5 to 2 million, view rates per week for Raw and SmackDown. That's not what Raw and SmackDown used to produce on a regular basis. I mean, these guys were producing 3 to 5 million views a fucking week. They were producing at least 3 million on average when they had CM Punk, John Cena, The Rock, The Miz as world champion back in 2011. I mean, it was legitimately good stuff. People were interested. People were still watching the product. But, Vince went a different route, a different creative image of what he thought the company should be like. And this is what we got now. You either like it for what it is or you don't like it for what it is. You can go ahead and do the same thing I'm doing, create your own podcast, start shitting on the product and explaining why you don't like the product for what it is. My attitude, it doesn't feel real. We all know it's not real. It's all fixed, orchestrated, and whatnot. But give us that kayfabe feeling you would get when you watch a real legitimate sport. Like UFC. UFC, you watch it, you know it's not fake, it's real. And those builds going into it, they're not fake either. The two opponents, they really hate each other. They're going to express their dislike towards each other. That's what I want to feel when I see two guys being rivals against each other, either by pure competition or over a championship. Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, yeah, they've done that. They've given us that real life type of feeling. Despite the fact Roman Reigns the last couple of weeks have been running around like a little biatch, it's been a pretty decent build. I will admit that. But at the end of the day, to me, that's all they got for WrestleMania. That's the only real match that's a WrestleMania match. So let's be honest with ourselves. I've been running down all these matches. I'll go back through them and then add it all up to give you guys my overall rating on the show for night one. So I said the Usos and the SmackDown champ for the SmackDown tag team titles was a 3 out of 5 stars. So let me go ahead. 3. Next match, we had Drew McIntyre, Happy Corbin. That was a 2.5 out of 5 stars. Miz and Logan Paul, I believe I said that was a 3 out of 5 stars. Yeah. 3 out of 5 stars. Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch, a 4 out of 5 stars. Then we had Cody beating Seth Rollins, which I said 4.5 out of 5 stars. Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey, of course, a 1. That was absolutely ridiculous. And then the main event was a 3.5 out of 5 stars with Steve Austin and Kevin Owens. So all that divided by 7 matches total comes to 3.07 overall rating out of 5. So if I double that, yeah. So yeah, my rating is about the same as yours. 6 out of 10 SME Wrestling. I have to agree with you on that. Overall, it was a 6 out of 10. So it was slightly below average, I guess you could say. 6 out of 10 ain't exactly great. It's kind of below average, slightly. If it was a 7 out of 10, that would have been an average show. But yeah, that's pretty much the overall deal with this show. It wasn't a terrible show. It had some really good moments. And it felt somewhat close to as best as we are going to get it for right now as a WrestleMania show. I mean, we can't be, totally shitting on this entire show. This was a decent show in certain aspects. Other portions of it was unnecessary. I've already told you guys, this should be a one-night event. We should have only 8 to 9 matches, and that's it. And then that's all we should have to have. Doesn't need to have 7 matches that happen on one night and 7 more matches on another night. We don't need 14 fucking matches. It's absolutely overkill. It's nuts. And it makes absolutely no sense. So that's just my attitude. Anyway, guys, let me see if there's any other comments here that wasn't relating towards my ratings, and I'll talk about that. So let's see here. 2 out of 5 stars for McIntyre Corbin. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, a lot of this was just comments about the whole entire match and stuff like that, like the ratings and all that stuff. So Daniel, he actually states that best one of the night, I'd give that match 10 out of 10. I'm a bit biased on this idea, but I think the second best was Logan's 8 or 7 out of 10 match. Wow. You must be a Logan Paul fan or something, or you just was really impressed with his wrestling ability, Daniel. Daniel says the only con I have with it is Miz turning his back on Logan Paul for no reason. Yeah, there is a reason. He don't like Cleveland. He pretends he likes Cleveland, but he really doesn't. He don't give a shit about Cleveland. Cares about himself and making money. That's it. That's the Miz for you. He's a fucking two-faced son of a bitch. That's his character. And I'll be honest with you guys. I actually liked the heel turn. I liked what he did. It reminded me of the old Miz back when he was first coming up and won his first WWE championship. He had that look in his eye like he didn't give a flying fuck about nothing, and he really enjoyed sticking it to him and to the entire audience. That is a real heel turn. And really, he's still a heel regardless before he did that. But it was really cool to just use Logan Paul like that just so he can get at the Mysterios and then turn on his own partner at the end of it, because he really doesn't truly care about fucking Cleveland. What would have made it even better is Jake Paul showing up, which, by the way, Jake Paul was at the pre-show on the panel talking to everybody, which was funny. He was talking about how he would like to, come out with his brother and be like a manager towards Miz and Logan Paul. Well, I'll be quite frank with you. I think it would have been funny if he turned on Logan Paul and then Jake Paul kicked his ass. That would have been funny. Just my thought on that. Or he could have turned on both brothers. That would have been another idea that they could have done. But it is what it is. Let's see here. All right. Matt 87 Eagle says, we got an AEW match in WWE. No complaints here. Yeah, Cody and Seth Rollins is definitely a AEW type of matchup that we normally don't see in WWE. Daniel says 10 out of 10 for Cody and Seth. No questions asked and highly anticipated. Welcome back, Cody. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was a 4.5. I normally don't do a 5 with any kind of match unless it is absolutely picture perfect, like a Shawn Michaels Undertaker match. And usually WWE can never produce something like that. But that match, it was pretty damn close to that. At 87 Eagles says, I believe Cody bought the rights to the song he has. Okay, well, I mean, that's great. Daniel says the show was decent, though. I have to agree. And then he also states that Roman versus Lesnar, I'm afraid for, but I'm hoping Reigns wins to unify the title and end this damn rivalry. And SME Wrestling was actually stating that he's not sure about night 2 and that he's not really looking forward for it either. So, yeah, I totally agree with you guys, man. I would be very cautious of night 2. I'd be concerned how the show is going to turn out, especially the Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar match. We've seen countless occasions where Brock Lesnar should have lost his match and he didn't. He won the match. I mean, there's one match that sticks out to me like a sore thumb. It's the Brock Lesnar Undertaker match at WrestleMania 30. It should have never happened. Brock Lesnar should have never beaten The Undertaker to end his undefeated streak. If you wanted to go with Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins, any one of those names, I would have been fine with. But Brock Lesnar, an already established superstar like him, who's made it in UFC, became a world champion, and then you're going to go ahead and have him beat one of the biggest names and had the best thing going for him, which was the streak at WrestleMania, and you close it out with you beating him, who's already established. I think that's a little fucked up. Brock Lesnar has also beaten Roman Reigns in numerous occasions where he should have lost. I think WrestleMania 34, Roman Reigns should have won that match. Everyone was anticipating it. People were expecting it to happen. Throughout 2000 and I believe it was 2000, WrestleMania 30, 2018, I believe it was, or no, 2017 leading into 2018. Brock Lesnar beat Samoa Joe. That was one person, Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe could have been a qualified person to take over the Universal Championship and done a decent job with it. Braun Strowman, at the time he was being built, I absolutely love Braun Strowman. I thought he was doing some great stuff. But at No Mercy of 2017, what did they do? They had Brock Lesnar beat him. Braun Strowman was on a hot streak at that point. And then they took it away from him, and he never recovered from that. That's why he turned out to be shit. Sometimes when you have a guy who's in a hot streak situation and you make him lose when he should win, then you know damn well he ain't going to recover from it in most cases. If he does, kudos to him, because that's not an easy thing to do. So, yeah. That's my concern about night 2. Everything else, I don't give a shit. Almost and Bobby Lashley, we all know who's going to win that. Almost is going to win. Bobby Lashley is going to go disappear and recover from injuries with his shoulder. Or whatnot. So that's all we have to. That's all we have to say on that. But yeah. Anywho, let's see here. What else did I not read yet? Sorry, I get tired here. Only got 5 hours of sleep last night. Anyway, let me continue here. I'm kind of running a little bit behind on the comments being made. So Matt87 Eagles states, I can't wait for the debate of which match was worse between Ronda's or Almost's match. Obviously, I think Almost's match is going to be a complete bore fest. Hopefully, it's only going to last like 5 minutes, maybe less, because Almost absolutely sucks. And I don't think it's going to be any good. SME Wrestling says, I am a KSI fan. I know who that is. That's a boxer. That's somebody that boxed. I think it was Logan Paul or Jake Paul. And he lost him, unfortunately. Daniel says, almost will be bad, I have a feeling, but so far Ronda is really bad. Yeah, her match with Charlotte Flair was terrible. To be quite frank with you guys, I think she looked like a complete ass in that match. Daniel says, I thought Logan Paul's was going to be bad, but it was actually good. Yeah, I did too. I thought he was going to be terrible in that match. I have to agree. And he says, am I wrong? And I like I just said, no, I don't disagree with you. I thought that was going to be the case. Matt87 Eagle says, well, Joe is AEW / Ring of Honor. Vince's loss is TK's gain. Yeah, I can't disagree on that. SME Wrestling says, I think Sammy versus Johnny might be entertaining, but I'm not getting my hopes up. It's going to be a comedy fest, SME Wrestling. I think this is going to be an absolute complete waste of everybody's time. I don't think Sami Zayn should be in a match like this. I think we should be seeing the Intercontinental Championship on the line with Ricochet not being the champion. Sami Zayn still being the champion going into the pay-per-view. These two should have never fought each other. And we should have seen Johnny Knoxville in Ricochet's corner for this championship match, where he was cheering on Ricochet to win and become the Intercontinental Champion for the very first time. That's what we should have seen. Instead, we're not getting that. We're just getting Sami Zayn and Johnny Knoxville in a no-holds-barred match. Big fucking whoop there. Could care less. We'll probably see a bunch of jackass type, skits going on in the middle of this match for all we know. He might drop a bowling ball on Sami Zayn's balls for all we know during the match. Who the hell knows? I think it's going to be nuts. Daniel says Logan's match will be better than Johnny versus Sami Zayn, in my opinion. Sure, Mania did well, but AEW will still be superior. Yeah, hands down, the best. I think Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor was better than this shit. And this wasn't a bad show either. But I think Supercard of Honor was better. And that's saying something. Because they had like 77,000 people in that fucking arena, that stadium. And all they can pull off is an average WrestleMania. Big whoop. Who gives a shit, man? I know I'm shitting on the company right now, and I was praising it earlier, but like I said, a Ring of Honor with a couple of hundreds, maybe even 1,000 or 2 at their show can put on good matches. Like I said, every match on that card outside of 2 matches was great. The rest of the two matches that were there's only two matches you could really skip if you went back and watched it. The rest of it was great stuff. You'd spend almost a full 3 hours watching the entire show back if you wanted to revisit the entire event. So, I mean, that's saying a lot. And that is a mediocre type of show when you really look at it when it comes to the actual presentation, the amount of people that were there and everything else. But the quality of the matches were superb. Excellent stuff. But anyway, guys, we are all out of time. Okay. There's a couple of comments that came in. Let me go ahead and read. Oh, wait, there was just one more comment. SME Wrestling says, I'm looking forward for Edge versus AJ Styles. Yes, that is probably the only match to look forward to for night 2. Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar is a possible great match that could take place as the main event. But I'm not getting my hopes up for that one because that one I expect there might be some fuckery taking place. Something might go wrong. I'm not putting any faith into the company until I see what goes down. And if things go down well, then terrific. If they don't, well, then I know what to expect from WWE. Complete and utter disappointment. But anyway, guys, at this time, all I have to say is I thank you guys very much for tuning in. I hope the sound quality with this new microphone worked out very well for everyone, including for the show. And if you like the video, of course, you know what to do. Hit the like button. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, I don't know what the fuck you're waiting for. Hit the subscribe button. And if you want to leave a comment down below, by all means, go ahead. I always respond back. I appreciate you guys tuning in. And I hope to see you again soon. We'll be here live again for night 2. And I'll speak to you again then. Anyway, at this time, guys, have a good night. And I'll speak to you again soon. Bye.